I've seen a lot in the media over the last few days or so since Andre Onana has been confirmed as leaving Man United about this narrative that he's a scapegoat and all Man United's problems aren't his fault, and Man United fans might be being a little bit harsh just because his confidence has gone down. And also, I've heard that, he was brought in to play a certain way, and Man United never played that certain way. So therefore, you can see why it's not really on Onana that this has happened. I think we need to stop doing this. If you watch Man United, and you have watched Man United for the 2 years that Andre Onana has been there, it will be as clear as day that the reason why he has found himself in this position is nothing to do with system, is nothing to do with managers, is nothing to do with the other 10 players out on the pitch, or anything to do with fan pressure or being unfairly treated. It's to do with incompetence. That's it. It's to do with not being good enough. You can't blame the system when you can't save basic shots. You can't blame the system when you make ridiculous errors that keepers of that level, with that level of experience, having been in the Champions League team of the year, having been in the Champions League final 3 years ago, is making. So I think in the media, there's a lot of blurring of the lines and sort of suggesting that Man United fans are the problem by saying that we get rid of Onana, we'll be fixed. We're better. We're back. No Man United fan has said that, but it's clear as day for anybody who watches any form of football at any sort of level that Onana is also not going to be the solution to fixing Man United's problems. And like I always say, hated adored, never ignored. Continue with someone like Onana, and it's how have they not got a top-class keeper? Everyone knows to win the league, you need someone, you need a great spine, you need a striker, central midfielder, centre-backs, and a top keeper. No one's ever won the league without a top keeper. Man United then proceed to fix that area. Okay, I'm not saying Sonny Lamans is 100% the answer. Time will tell. But they go to fix that problem, and now it's being a bit harsh on him, being a bit harsh. I don't like it.
Andre Onana, as you mentioned, there's been some weird discourse surrounding the, I guess, technically former Manchester United goalkeeper, but a goalkeeper going out on loan to Turkey. Is he a scapegoat? Well, this was an interesting kind of narrative that's been building up. As you can see right here, Graham Bailey was saying, Onana firmly believes he's been used as something of a scapegoat, and he thinks he is the best goalkeeper United have. But he is heading into a World Cup year, an African Cup of Nations in January, and wants to be playing, so he has accepted the move to Turkey. This is something that is kind of echoed by other reporting as well. Chris Wheeler, Nathan Salt from the Daily Mail, saying that Ruben Amorim was unhappy that Andre Onana suffered a hamstring tear on his second day of pre-season. We'll circle back to that one because it's very interesting, actually. The United boss, who was also weary of Onana's omission becoming a distraction for Senna Lomans, reached the decision to move him on with Jason Wilcox. And this is something that's actually kind of backed up with a new article that's come out just a few minutes before we started going live here from Laurie Whitwell, a real in-depth piece, as it were, about Ruben Amorim's thinking, Jason Wilcox's thinking, Sir Jim Ratcliffe's thinking, maybe surprise in the dressing room about Onana's exit, etc., etc. So there is this general picture that Ruben Amorim is pissed off with Andre Onana for a variety of different reasons. One being this hamstring injury, saying that Andre Onana's hamstring injury picked up on the first day at Carrington. They said second day, Chris Wheeler was splitting hairs. But also this maybe arrogance, expectation that he would remain number one, left Ruben Amorim dissatisfied, on top of course, him requesting a new contract as well because of his loss of wages due to not being in the Champions League. It's all been building up. Now, as Laurie Whitwell writes there, Onana is a big personality, and occasionally, in the eyes of some people at Manchester United, while that can be a positive, it can also ruffle feathers. Hey, it's part of life. It can be quite frustrating, can't it, when you throw him back of that part of life. Laurie Whitwell also wrote that Ruben Amorim's lack of selecting Andre Onana in the first 3 Premier League games were a clear indication of Amorim's feelings, and following Bayern's inability to prevent Arsenal's goal, Sir Jim Ratcliffe also backed the recommendation by Manchester United Director of Football Jason Wilcox to go and sign a new goalkeeper. There were some, though, that are a bit surprised by Onana leaving. Some people close to Manchester United are surprised, according to Laurie, that Onana elected to leave rather than try and fight for his place or wait until another European club could move for him in the winter market. although it is a straight loan, he is effectively ending his United career with this switch. An Old Trafford return after a season of Super League football is considered to be highly unlikely. So no real chance, Flex, of Onana coming back and then it been like, right, he's back in the fold now. It's all sorted. But I think what really is interesting there, and what kind of Laurie is writing and building, and actually a bit in Chris Wheeler and Nathan Salt's article as well, is that there's this been, I guess, shall we say, notches on a sort of frustration sort of tier for him. It's not one thing, but it's like he comes back from pre-season. I'm number one. I'm going to be number one, which I don't really necessarily blame him too much, because under Eric Ten Hag, he was all. He got delayed going to AFCON. He got delayed going to AFCON. He was so desperately needed, right, in the eyes of Ten Hag. But he's come back going, I'm number one. That's it. Also, I think I want a bit more money on my contract, and rightfully so. People are turning their heads, going, "Really? You're asking for more money, considering we're not in the Champions League? Have you seen what you did last time we were in the Champions League?" And then, I guess maybe he does pull his hamstring or do his hamstring injury, which was a tear. Whether or not it's one of those ones which was seen as avoidable or unavoidable, a freak accident, we don't really know that much about that. But it's clear, it paints a picture that Ruben Amorim was just like, I'm sick of this. I'm not putting up with this for another year. You know what I mean? And I tried old Ty, not good enough. You know, we've got to go get goalkeeper. We've got to
I mean, you look at some of the things that sort of literally, if Russell Feathers, shout out Frank, he's posted it as a sort of aggregation from Laurie Whitwell, but I've got it here in the main article anyway. He said that he wished Onana wished to discuss his salary with United, since his salary was cut from 170 grand a week to 120 grand a week, roughly a 67 grand per week after tax, due to the club's failure to qualify for the Champions League after his first campaign. He has people who depend on him in Cameroon, where he has opened up the Andre Onana Foundation. With a United contract that runs until 28, Onana should attract a broader spectrum of suitors next summer, blah, blah, blah. But that bit there about, he wished to discuss his wages and stuff. And that's the bit that, like, obviously us guys of watching his performances and seeing how much of a part he played in us not even being in Europe, or which we should say exiting Europe early, because there was no guarantee, if we're being fair, there was no guarantee that, obviously in the league, we had to finish in the top, whatever, top 5, top 4. But he was the big reason why we went out of it, bottom of the group. Do you know what I mean? But, it's saying, obviously, he started the Andre Onana Foundation, which is great. People who depend on him in Cameroon. That's not like...
I was just thinking about how to phrase this, because I was like, this is a very difficult thing to almost say, isn't it? Which is... look, huge credit.
We've all got mouths to
for opening the Andre Onana Foundation. Huge credit to him for not forgetting where he's come from, and making it from there, and giving money back and what have you, which is great. But it's got nothing to do with your contract negotiations, really. You know what I mean? Still, it's like that's not a valid You can't go into a new contract and be like, look, my salary was cut, by the way, partially because of me. But I've made a commitment to this foundation or this group or whatever to be given money, and that means I get less money. So can I get more money? You'd be like, sorry, it doesn't work like that.
You signed
You're
this.
Bringing up
also, when you signed it, you didn't go,
that's your thing.
I will sign this. You get 25% reduction if we're not in the Euro. Yeah, fine.
Yeah.
Can you just insert a clause that obviously just give me a bit for the foundation, though, because when that goes down.
Yeah, if it goes down, then this doesn't go down, or something like that. But you can't.
Thing, bro. You signed it, so. Unfortunately, and if I know, like, it's the same in any business. It's like me working in retail, like I used to in Foot Locker, shout out Foot Locker, and me going, I've put a bit of money into saving for some properties or something over there. Like I've started up a youth club over there. So, the sales are down in Foot Locker. I'm struck. Like, could you still about those wages? Because I got that happening in my own private time away from here. Can you help me with that? It's just not how the world spins. It's just not how it goes.
It's irrelevant, isn't it? It's irrelevant to
it's
the
just not how it
conversation,
goes.
really. You know what I mean?
Then you have to do it for everyone. Then everyone's coming saying, listen, I've got this. Bruno's saying I've got a property portfolio. Someone said, I've started a gym. Someone said, I've got a car. I sell cars now and on the side. Like, what is this?
From Manchester United's perspective, they would be like, well, that's your commitment. That's not our commitment. You know what I mean? It'd be one thing if, like you said, Manchester United had put down in writing that they were going to be putting money into his foundation or what have you. But that's not their commitment. It's his commitment. He doesn't.
Maybe it doesn't say that he said.
No, he said
wished to
that's what he
discuss his
said.
salary. Yeah, because this could just be the opinion of Laurie. Where
But that's
he's
what I
going.
mean. Like,
He does
it's
have
a
people who
weird
depend on
line.
it in Cameroon, where he has opened Andre Onana Foundation. So that could be a reason why he wanted to discuss his salary. It doesn't say that Onana
That's what
marched
he
into
said.
the office. So we do, I suppose, if we're being proper journalists, if we're staying true to our name, okay, we do have to look at it overall. We're doing the negative fan bit. We've got bloody cheek. Man, just throwing the ball in the back of it, asking for a pay rise. But what is a fact is that he wished to discuss his salary, though. That is
because it got dropped down. You know?
So, and you shouldn't. That is where we're like, let's stay to that fact. The bit about his foundation and stuff, and that, and he's got people that depend on him in Cameroon. That feels like that's Laurie saying that. If I'm honest, I'd have to ask him that actually.
Yeah, or you know, was that like? Because again, how these stories work is, you know, the journalist gets their bit of information, then they take the story to all parties. So they take it to Man United and go, "This is what I'm writing. Do you have any comment?" And they can put comments in, or they'll put no comment in. And they take them to Onana's people and say, "This is the story. Do you have anything to add, or is there anything that's worth knowing here?" And maybe it might be a little bit from his camp of just like, well, you know, like he's got, you know, there's the cut of salary. There's people that depend on Andre and, you know, blah, blah, blah. And I'm sure there will probably be a thing of when he came to Manchester United, he thought it was going to be a project where they would regularly be in the Champions League or what have you. But again, you're culpable for us not being in there.